Hello everyone and welcome to the Redmen TV. It's the Uncensored Match Build Up ahead of the Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. Yes, Everton versus Liverpool kicking off in about, an hour and 15 minutes or so. We're here to react to the Liverpool team news that will drop officially in about 14 or so minutes time as well. I'm Steve Hall, joined by Jamie Cranford here at the desk, and over at the board we've got Mr. Dan Klopp. There he is, looking splendid in black as well, as always. You look splendid too, buddy. You're always a bit more colourful in all black, though. I don't think you're an all black kind of guy. Like me and Dan are. I think you're more of a vibrant personality.
Can I just say what a privilege it is to be on with the next manager of the Liverpool Football Club? You've lost your accent very quickly, Arnold, I have to say.
I'm going to make loads of money off. I said this to you, there's a guy in town who sells pictures with looking like Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah.
I think I might go and do it.
You might get spotted, actually. You might, if you just go to Pop World tonight.
Yeah, he's actually got, he doesn't have the beard though. He goes full all round bald. I'm not sure I'm ready for that. You must have had that quite a lot already, and he's not even being announced as the manager.
It's been 24 hours, hasn't it?
It's been a thing, but I've embraced it, and I've if anything, I've fanned the flames of it, because there's money to be made for me there, and I'm for the opportunities when it comes to that. Yeah. But yes, he is, as a bald man, I can only say I'm happy to finally be represented by a Liverpool manager. We've had every type of manager, we've had all different kinds of people from all over the world. We haven't had a bald guy yet. So yeah, I'm absolutely delighted to be getting there, at least in my area anyway. Anyway, let's talk about the Merseyside derby then, Jay. The team news that come out of the Jurgen Klopp's press conference, obviously there was no Diogo Jota injured again. We're hearing that Cody Gakpo might not be available for today's game as well, apparently personal reasons. I think his missus is having a baby, so right. we'll confirm that in a couple of moments' time. But so what that does mean is a front three of Nunes, Salah, Diaz, which is fine on paper, maybe not so much on form. Maybe then after that there's not too much going on in terms of the bench, but a bit of a blow for Liverpool. Obviously Jota's injury, and then obviously with Cody Gakpo missing as well, if that does turn out to be the case. Yeah,
it's the front three I would have picked. I know Nunes and Salah have not been in the best of form lately, but I feel like this is a perfect, it could go with one or two ways with Nunes. I could see him scoring a belter from 25 yards, or I could see him button someone, you just never know. It's a bit of a shame about our depth, because just again when we started looking Jota's coming back from injury, he's getting a bit of fitness back, he's on the score sheet, and then that's news to me about Cody Gakpo. Very unfortunate time for best of luck to Mrs. Gakpo. But you could have hung on another 24 hours, couldn't you? Maybe.
Maybe he could have hung on 9 months ago.
Well, yeah. So either way, I guess if you want to flip it as a positive, it's an opportunity for Jayden Danns to potentially make himself a hero. If we need something off the bench, last 20 minutes, something like that. He's been in decent form for the under 21s. He's looked good whenever he's played for the senior team. He looks like he can put himself about, but he's also looks to be like a talented player with the ball at his feet, little flick-ons, things like that. So I'll be excited for him if he comes on. Hopefully, though, the first choice front three, can put a few goals past us, so we don't need to be relying on a late Dan's show.
Absolutely, fingers crossed. Dan, I'll come over to you. That team behind you is what we think Liverpool's team's going to be. Yeah. We'll find out officially in about 10 minutes' time. Jurgen rang the changes for Fulham, and he's rang them back again, it looks like. There's a couple of lads there who had a well-earned rest, maybe needed rest. It'll be interesting to see what type of form they all come back in. Because I'd say there are 6 players on that board who I think were in bad form before the weekend, and they all didn't start. I'd say Konate, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Jones, Nunes, Salah were all a little bit iffy now. They're all coming back in. Hopefully they're not. Hopefully they're feeling a little bit better than they were. Because I agree. I don't know what you think, mate, but I felt all of those were having a little bit of a dip.
Yeah, I don't think any of them could have had any complaints about being dropped to the bench on the weekend, to be fair, because I completely agree. And I think the performance, and it was vindicated that Klopp did exactly that, because we were far better, certainly second half of Fulham. Thought it was one of our better performances for a while, certainly on the road, to be perfectly honest with you. So yeah, I think They're all going to have to come back in tonight. Obviously, a couple of enforced ones, particularly in the front line, but a little bit rested potentially might help. But also, you want a reaction from them. You wanted them on the weekend to be fuming by the fact they had been dropped. Whichever way they want to spin it, whichever way Jurgen Klopp sold it to them, that they are just getting rested or whatever, it is just squad management, a little bit of rotation. You want them all to have been sat there absolutely seething. I've seen a clip of, obviously I was there at the weekend at that Craven Cottage, but in the aftermath, I've seen a clip in Salah and Núñez who looked absolutely fuming, and good. You want that, and therefore you want them to come out tonight with a point to prove, and to prove that they are still the main men in this front line, and they've been given the opportunity. I actually think Salah would have started anyway, despite the unfortunate absence of Diogo Jota and of course Cody Gakpo. It's a massive shame for Cody Gakpo. I described him yesterday as undroppable, not accounting for the fact his wife is about to go into labour, of course. So it is a shame, and Jay's right when he mentions the depth there, but you're absolutely spot on. 6 changes again. I think that freshens the squad up, get some fresh legs in there, but there's on paper, that team there, I don't think we're a million miles removed from, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago saying that's our best 11 on paper. However, on form, it's far from it. So there's definitely enough strength, there's definitely enough quality to go out there and get the job done tonight. What that side needs to do is it needs to prove it still can be the best 11 on paper, because right now, I've got reservations, as you say, about at least 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 of these lads.
It's interesting, Jay, because Jürgen spoke before Fulham, and he'd say, I've got 3 games in 6 days, I need to manage the squad, that's what I'm doing here. But there are lads who I think, will feel disappointed not to have kept their place. We'll find out on Saturday against West Ham how it all shakes out in that, but I'm thinking Quansah did nothing wrong, Elliott was pretty good, Gravenberch was up and down, but scored a very good goal as well. They're probably the 3 maybe you'd look at. And I thought had a better performance than he has done, especially second half as well. But this is the reality of when you're playing Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday morning. You do have to use your squad, otherwise you are going to be a leggy team, and Liverpool had looked like a leggy team before Fulham. Yeah,
I think a few of them, I would say Elliott maybe. I think, whenever I see him, I felt sorry for him in the last few weeks. I feel like Jones, as good as Jones is, has taken a little bit of time to come back. So I felt a bit sorry for Elliott not being in the starting 11. Quansah as well. I mean, Konate's looked a little bit iffy since he's come back from injury. So yeah, maybe Quansah. But I think I agree with Dan. I think that's probably our strongest team on paper. I think that's the one. Before we lost to Palace, you'd probably look at that and say, right, these are going to be the guys that we're relying on to bring us home, hopefully win every game. And look, hopefully we can still win every game. Whether 1 or 2 of these will have to come out at the weekend, we don't know. But I think it's definitely now time for some of those lads who have showed us, the best stuff over the course of the season, McAllister, etc., Konate, Núñez and Salah have had incredible moments. It's time for them to start. We've only got 5 games left now. We've got to win them all, basically.
100%, no doubt about it. And I'll come to you on the front 3. A lot of people in the chat are going, if that's the front 3, is that the front 3? Yeah. Apparently there's no other options. Obviously Jota injured, and we think Gakpo's going to be unavailable, like I say, for personal reasons. So, but I can see why people in the chat, Dan, are, I'd say, a little bit concerned about the form of Núñez and Salah. I think everyone's relatively okay with Luis Diaz, how well Luis Diaz is playing for the most part, but I can understand why there is a little bit of trepidation, which is mad, because it's the club's best ever goal scorer in Premier League history and the record signing. Yeah. But there is a little bit of if you're picking the best team on form and everyone was available, they probably both wouldn't be in it. Mm-hmm. But they're both in it, and they both got to do the business tonight. If, like Jay says, Liverpool want to be in the league challenge come tomorrow morning. Oh,
absolutely. There is no room for manoeuvre, is there, in this title race now? And we've made that the case by slipping up, obviously, at Old Trafford in the league, and of course, in particular, that game against Crystal Palace at Anfield. So there is absolutely no two ways about it. Every single game from here on out is must win, most definitely including tonight. So yeah, we need these lads to step up. And when you look at the front 3, listen, I make the chat right. Salah and Núñez, based on form right now, wouldn't be in this starting 11. I think if all options had been available to Jurgen Klopp, I don't think Núñez would have been in the 11, to be honest, at all. I think Diogo Jota might have been the choice. Obviously that option was taken away from him through injury. Even then, I think he might have turned to Cody Gakpo before he turned to Darwin Núñez personally. His hands are tied. He has to choose these lads. It's very unlikely we see Harvey Elliott on the right wing or anything like that, or even the Jadon Dans. As talented as both of them lads are, they're not going to start this game. Certainly not in the front line. Certainly not when you have those options at your disposal. And I think they're right on Luis Diaz. I think he carried the fight brilliantly. And certainly while Núñez and Salah weren't available, Diaz was so often the most dependable option we had. And Diaz, lax when it comes to output and stuff like that, which could be frustrating. But in terms of his all-round play, in terms of what he offers to Liverpool, in terms of the outball, how often is it Luis Diaz that drags us up the pitch and makes things happen? So no qualms whatsoever about him and his form. I think he's played really, really well for the most part this season. Núñez, he's hot and cold, isn't he, Darwin? That's the thing. He's just hot and cold, and it feels at the moment. You're going for one of his cold spells. He can't quite get anything right, it feels like. The first two things he did at Craven Cottage would be offside twice. Liverpool hadn't been offside at all in the game. Darwin comes on. He soon fixed that. So, yeah, Darwin Núñez is not at it. And my main concern about Darwin Núñez tonight in particular is Darwin Núñez is best, it feels like, when he can exploit space in behind. I don't know how much space there's going to be in behind this Everton backline. So it's going to be a tricky game for him. I think Gakpo would have perfectly suited dropping deep and making things happen in and around him. Darwin's going to have to try and adapt and overcome this challenge that Everton are going to pose. Mo Salah, on the other hand, is a completely different kettle of fish altogether. He is incredible footballer who right now is miles off it. Absolutely, once again at Craven Cottage, came on, touch wasn't right, tried a couple of things, nothing really is coming off for him. He needs to spark back into life quickly if Liverpool are going to win tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose as well, Jay, let's look at midfield, mate. I'm surprised there's no Endo, if I'm honest. I thought the derby would be the game that you'd probably need Endo in. Everton are, you know, for what they lack in quality up front, I know they've really struggled to score goals. They've got a very combative midfield.
Yeah.
Jürgen's actually gone there for arguably, and yeah, listen, Harvey Elliott might disagree with this, and I apologise if he doesn't, fair enough. He'd have every right. The most technical midfield Liverpool have got in terms of ball players. Ryan Gravenberch has got an argument at that as well, but
yeah.
McAllister, Szoboszlai, Jones, that isn't, I mean, there's the lads who will get about and they all put their foot in, but you would say they are more ball players. So it looks like Jürgen's going to Everton and saying, actually, we're not going to play the game how you want it, we're going to try and play it how we want it. Yeah,
and I think that's probably the way forward, because we've had a lot of tight derbies over the years, especially at Goodison. We've had a lot of 0-0s, going back. I think we had, how many wins we had under Jürgen? Two. We had one was the Mane injury time one, wasn't it? And the other one was the 4-1. Yeah. So, I mean, we haven't looked like one of those kind of 4-1 type performances is within us. Maybe this lineup is, maybe we can pull it out of the fire, because I think it's probably our most, like you say, it's our most technical midfield. It's our most attacking midfield. There's goals from all three of those. There's, shots from outside the box potentially. And I'd be interested, just going back to the forwards for a sec. I thought what we did really well in the first half against Atalanta the other day was disrupting them by the forward, swapping over the midfield. Even people swapped over. I wonder if we can see a bit of that tonight. I'm with you, Dan, about Núñez. You don't want him getting bogged down in battles with Branthwaite and whatever, but I'd like to see him on the left-hand side, maybe, given I don't know if Ashley Young's going to play, but, you can't imagine Ashley Young's looking forward to dealing with Núñez. I'd like to see a bit of that interchange, bit of interchange in the midfield, maybe just do something that they're not prepared for, because we don't want it to turn into another 0-0 bore fest like we've seen in the quite a lot under Jürgen.
Yeah, Jürgen's record at Goodison, he hasn't touched wood, he hasn't lost yet, but like I said, too many draws and a draw. I think at times, and I said this the other day, and the team will be out in a second, I think Jürgen used to think sometimes a draw was a good result at Goodison. We'll take that and we'll get the points elsewhere. Yeah. There's no room for that today. He has to win, which maybe explains potentially why that team is that team. Just to clarify, James Pearce has just reported no Cody Gakpo, and Liverpool's team is out and he isn't on the bench. So that news that we got was right. So I'll bring, here is the team, Dan, while you sort your board out. Do you want me to...
I saw it.
Oh, God, go over to Dan then, don't need me.
Would you believe there's a little fist pump in the corner here when I see the subs bench? I think I'm right in saying Alisson Becker in goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back, Ibu Konate, Virgil van Dijk, Andy Robertson, the inform Andy Robertson at that. That midfield you just mentioned in there, very technically gifted, maybe not quite the physicality with Wataru Endo in there, but it's Alexis McAllister, Dom Szoboszlai, Curtis Jones, Mohamed Salah back, Darwin Núñez back, and Luis Diaz on the left wing, which leaves us a substitute bench of Keith Keller, Jayden Dans, Ryan Gravenberch, Javel Quansah, Wataru Endo, Harvey Elliott, Joe Gomez, Costas Tsimikas, Bobby Clark.
Absolutely. We've got a super chat from Jose Cabronero, nice name. Jose or Jose, either one. I'm going to say both. Someone tell Gakpo's wife to wait another 2 hours. Unfortunately not. These things, nature has taken its course.
When you got to go, you got to go.
We've all been there. I mean, not literally
to the toilet, but also like birthing a human being as well.
Yeah, I don't think she has much to say in this matter. It's more the baby's choice, I think, than Cody Gakpo's partner. But yeah, wish them well, of course. Cody Gakpo about to become a father. Touch wood, all goes safe and swimmingly for everyone involved. Back to the team, Jay. 2 Scousers in the team in a Merseyside derby, which I don't mind, I'll be honest with you. It harks back to some days of years past. One of those in Trent Alexander-Arnold, I think, was the difference between the performances that we saw of Liverpool over a couple of weeks, maybe, and Liverpool at Fulham. It became, at times, on Sunday, the Trent Alexander-Arnold show. And that's great for us. And if it can be the Trent Alexander-Arnold show again, Liverpool got a very, very good chance of walking out to Goodison Park with all 3 points.
Yeah, I've seen a few people bring up the comparison with Bradley, and I think everybody thinks that Bradley did an exceptional job. And, I remember seeing him, I think it was probably the first time I saw him in the flesh against Chelsea when he got his goal. And I was just amazed at how good he was on the ball and all that. And he pops up and scores the goal. But then you see, obviously, the free kick the other day, some of his crossfield passes, even when he first came back into the team, Trent, I forget which game it was, but immediately started pinging those crossfield balls over to Diaz. And as soon as you see him, you go, oh yeah, there is no one. I mean, there's barely anyone in world football, bar De Bruyne or 1 or 2 others, that can execute some of those passes. There's no one from right back in the world that can do that. There's barely been anyone from, that I can remember at right back. It's like having a kind of a Beckham crossed with Cafu almost. That's, like the unbelievable delivery. So yeah, I'm hoping that he's had a few games to get back into it now. He's obviously scored a great goal the other day. They're not going to be happy if we've got any free kicks from around the edge of the box. You back him to score another one. Some of those, I mean, I'm not expecting them to pen us in much, really, especially given that I don't know what their situation is with the strikers, but Beto can't play, can he? Calvert-Lewin started, right? But if there is an occasion where we need to counter-attack Trent, there's no one better at pinging those balls over to the likes of Salah or Nunez. So, yeah, great to see him back in the team. And Jones as well. Big game for Jones. He's had a few.
First derby at Goodison in front of fans. He mentioned the other day he's looking forward to it. He played one in the COVID season, but he mentioned in the interview earlier today he's looking forward to it. I'm going to bring you the Everton team now, as Jamie just touched upon. A couple of changes for the Blues as well. It's Jordan Pickford in goal. No surprise that they've benched Ashley Young at right back. They put in Ben Godfrey. That was pretty much always going to be the case. Luis Diaz terrored him last time and he didn't have a great game against Nottingham Forest either. Culpable for probably a couple of Nottingham Forest tweets. But Ashley Young's fault. James Tarkowski, Branthwaite and Mikalenko make up their back 4. Then a midfield, effectively midfield 5 of Garner, Decore, Harrison, McNeil, and then Dom Calvert-Lewin returns up front. He picked up a little bit of an knee injury, but he's been fit enough to start. On their bench as well, it's Danjuma is the striker option really, and Chair Mitty as well. No Beto, as Jamie touched on before, obviously concussion protocols have ruled him out. They've also got Anana on the bench, which might be a surprise to some, given how highly rated some Evertonians think of him, as well as Andre Gomez. It's a 4-5-1, Dan. Everton, we know what they're going to be. We know all about what Sean Dyche ball is going to be. That team behind you, up against what's going to be I'm not going to say a team of yard dogs, but maybe a team of yard dogs. Are you happy with that? Is it good enough, do you think? Is it combative enough? Has it got enough energy in it? Is it in good enough form to go through what's probably going to be and try and be a resilient Everton?
The form question is probably the one I've got most doubts about, to be honest with you. Definitely enough energy, definitely enough quality, there's no two ways about it. And I touched on this yesterday when we did the match preview. In any football match, you've got to earn the right to be able to play your football. And Liverpool are going to have to do that first and foremost today, make no two bones about it. I think the start of the game is going to be absolutely pivotal to that, because albeit a lot of people coming into this game, I had conversations all day long in the gym this morning and throughout my afternoon really about Everton and the pressure not quite being as high as it was, given the fact they won at the weekend. They do start to feel like they might be safe now, but I still think it's wishful thinking to anticipate that Everton will ease off and the crowd might not be quite as raucous and they're going to come out and play. I just don't see that happening at all. I think it will be the same combative, same organised, sit deep, make life difficult for the opposition type of Sean Dyche team that we've come up against numerous times, whether it be Burnley or Everton. So I don't really see any changes there. But as I say, I think Liverpool We're going to have to go toe-to-toe. We're going to have to put up a fight. We're going to have to win our individual battles. And I think if we can do that, certainly in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, dampen down the crowd, take a little bit of the sting out of the atmosphere, maybe even show the team we're going up against in Everton, who is the boss of this game, and that we are there for the fight and we're willing to sort of stick a foot in as well as play our footy, then yeah, I've got no doubt really that there's more than enough quality in this game and on this team to get this job done. And when certainly looking at midfield, that's why I think he's gone with this. It's a real hybrid of a midfield, and games are so often won and lost in there. It's got that physical edge whilst also having all the quality to actually unlock defences. So it's a really smart pick from Jurgen Klopp for my money. So yeah, I'm made up. But what I will say, and the caveat to pretty much everything I've said in the past half an hour, is the fact that some of these lads, some of the big hitters, some of our biggest players, Canate, Szoboszlai, a little bit McAllister, Salah and Núñez, need to show a lot more than they have done in recent games.
Oh, yeah, 100%, absolutely. Jay, it's been a while in the Premier League since Liverpool kept a clean sheet. Everton aren't known. The reason they're down the bottom of the table really is because they can't score. Their defensive record is as good as most teams, better than pretty much most teams in the league. They concede very few as well, but their problem has been scoring goals. Liverpool's haven't been watertight, I think it's fair to say. If you don't keep a clean sheet against this Everton side, I don't know, man. I think you have to half alarm bells a little bit, you know what I mean? Because they aren't in great form in front of goal.
Yeah, that's my issue. If I were an Everton fan, is how are we going to score? I mean, I know Dyche.
Liverpool might just give you one like they've done a couple of teams.
Well,
that's the worry, isn't it?
That's the only thing. And, going back even into last season, we get caught, not necessarily on the break, but there'll be moments when our defence, Virgil's kind of jogging back, like everything's going to be all right, guys, and then like the Crystal Palace goal across comes in, it's like, oh, it's not all right. We've just conceded, that we seem to concede that kind of goal quite a lot. But I don't think Everton aren't particularly pacey going forward, so I don't think they're really going to trouble us in that. If they have a 3-on-2 or something, we're going to be absolutely like, the decent players, McNeil and I've forgotten the other lad's name, Harrison, yeah, the decent players. You just, I don't know. I mean, Decore can nab the odd goal. I mean, Calvert-Lewin, as much as he's the kind of the main man for them, his goal-scoring record's not great, bar maybe one season. But then you can say all this and then it all just goes out the window because it is the derby. I mean, we have to, I know you can't kind of think about form too much because, as I've just said, it's a derby, but barring the period when they got the first points deduction, when they had a bit of a good run, they've been rubbish all year. And, they were abject last week against Chelsea. And it's like real, tear your season ticket up stuff if we still had paper season ticket. But now they're kind of out of trouble, just one win. And normally I like it when teams that are at the bottom win the week they play us, because I think there's a bit of a subconscious, we've got our 3 points there. But that's not going to be allowed to happen because it's Everton. There's going to be 38,000, rabid Everton, however many the whole home allocation is. The highest percentage home season ticket holders in the country, I saw the other day. Bottom of the table, Liverpool.
All live in County Road.
Rubbish. So there's going to be a lot of Blues foaming at the mouth there, getting behind them. So I don't know.
Yeah, Liverpool's job done on that is to quieten them down.
Yeah.
That Everton's a stadium, and I've been there myself plenty of times, and I've seen Liverpool win there, and I've seen Liverpool lose there, and I've seen Liverpool draw there. when they're on top, or you give them something to fight, or there's a kick-off, or their team shows it, it's ferocious. Goodison Park, it really is. But when they're behind, or when stuff goes wrong, they are one of the quickest stadiums to turn on their own team as well. Liverpool could do themselves a favour here by not giving Everton anything. Just because Everton creative-wise aren't that great. If Liverpool keep them quiet and don't give them too much, you can turn Goodison Park into a weapon in your favour. Yeah. And I'm looking at that team behind you, and it looks like a team that can dominate the ball and maybe do that. Yeah. Again, provided they don't just make silly mistakes.
Yeah, that has to be the plan. I mean, this isn't a Liverpool team this season that's been renowned for making good starts to footy matches, but if there's ever a time to start doing that, it will be tonight, because you're both absolutely spot on. This will be a crowd that's baying for blood, and you give them a sniff of optimism in this game, they'll absolutely jump all over it and they'll run with it. So this Liverpool team tonight has to be aware of that, and it has to start the game strongly. It has to sort of attempt to quieten that crowd down, as you say, get hold of the ball, get some passes together, put some strings of play together, and really just dictate terms. All of a sudden, it might start to turn ever so slightly in there, and they might get on their own fans back, and if their own players back rather than the fans, and if they just start hoofing it long, that tends to be the one for me. If you pen a team in, certainly like Everton, and they can't get out, and they are just whacking it to nobody, they're trying to find Calvert-Lewin, but it keeps going out of play, or it just keeps coming back at them, then you might start to hear murmurings from the crowd of displeasure that they're not happy with what they're seeing in front of them. So, yeah, I make you right. I think it's absolutely imperative that Liverpool ride a little bit of a storm potentially in the first 10, but then thereafter get complete control of the game and just show our class and show how much better than this Everton side we are, because albeit it's a derby and form goes out the window and all that sort of stuff, and there's been some mad results in derbies down the years, of course there has, but this is a Liverpool team that, you know, is still vying to win the Premier League this season against an Everton team that, if it wasn't for 3, possibly 4 teams that, 4 of the worst teams the Premier League's ever seen, certainly in the bottom 3 right now, would be bang in trouble if they aren't already. So yeah, show our class and show why we are what we're all about.
Absolutely right, Jay. Dan, get your thinking caps on, because I'm going to come to you for some score predictions in a moment. Everyone in the chats as well, whether on YouTube, Facebook, the Discord, wherever you're watching and wherever you can comment, get your score predictions in now while I give you a couple of quick messages. First of all, keep an eye out on the YouTube channel and the socials all evening. Chloe is at the stadium and she's just sent a picture of her seat and she's front row. You might even see her on the telly. She'll be the girl screaming in the cap, going absolutely wild. Chloe is a very nervous football watcher and a very passionate football watcher as well. So yeah, keep an eye out for Chloe there. In terms of the watch along, me and Dan will be live in about half an hour's time for the entirety of Everton versus Liverpool. So yeah, do come back and spend the day with us. So you can mute the TV, sync up with our clock, and we'll commentate. We'll bring it all for you with your stats, your biased commentary, more important. You can have a chat with everyone around as well. And yeah, can't wait for that. And also, Paul and Chris are at Box Park, live on stage, probably on stage right now.
Yeah, I've just been sent a picture of them.
So there you go. Yeah. So if you check the socials as well, you'll be able to see Paul and Chris. The Redmen are spread across the city today. We're everywhere, here, there, and everywhere, following Liverpool. So keep an eye on all the channels, everything, because we've got you covered through all of this. And of course, the developing stories around Liverpool's next manager, a very, 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 very sexy man. Some would say the most handsome manager Liverpool have ever had, and I would be one of those some. Right, score predictions. I'll go to the chat first. Diane has gone 2-1 to the Reds. Plissid, 3-1 to the Reds. ST Boy, 2-0 to the Reds. Bonkers LFC, nice names, going for a bonkers scoreline, going for a 4-0. Bloomy's gone even bigger with a 5-1. Interesting. Some confident people in the YouTube chat. In terms of the Discord, Symes has gone 3-0 Darwin and a Mo Salah double. I wouldn't hate this, Symes. I would not hate it as well. JD, it's got to be the classic 3-1 Liverpool. I can only go behind 3-1 when Jota's on the pitch, because 3-1 Jota's the thing. So without it, it's I don't know if I just can't. Diane makes a good point, actually. We would have been Redmen live in London tonight if it wasn't for this game. But I'm very excited for the rescheduled show in September. Yeah, actually, we were meant to be live in London tonight, but then, yeah, they arranged this derby game on the same day, so we couldn't. So we're here instead. And you know what? We'll be in London in September. So yeah, if you're watching in London, go and get some tickets. We're going to have a nice day. Tony in the chat says a cheeky 4-0 would be nice. Can you describe a 4-0 as
I'm
cheeky?
not sure that's cheeky.
Yeah, it's a bit more than cheeky. It's resounding.
Cheeky's like 1-0, innit?
Yeah.
I don't think you can have a cheeky 4-0. That's like saying, you know, you go, I'm going for a cheeky Nando's, I'm going for a cheeky, or you can eat buffet. Like, I don't think it works. I don't think it works at all. Right, Dan.
Yeah.
I've stalled. I'll give you time.
Yeah. I'm sticking with my guns. Said yesterday on the podcast, on the preview, 2-0 Liverpool. I'm going to stand by it. I'm going to add to it a little bit tonight. I'm going to go Mo Salah and Dom Szoboszlai, goal scorer. There's so much riding on it, and the big lads are going to step up and deliver.
Mick on Facebook says 3-0 win and Pickford to have a nightmare. Yeah, I can see it. I hope so. I can absolutely see it. Jay, what are you thinking?
1-0 to Liverpool.
That's what I think as well.
And Darwin Núñez to break Pickford's nose by headbutting him.
Sent off. And he gets the goal, then in the kind of melee after the goal, breaks Pickford's nose. That's, okay, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it happening. He'd have to lean down, which is mad.
He would.
He's pretty tall down. I think 1-0.
Yeah.
Trent.
I can see it being, I'd have that.
No, free kick.
Pushed into midfield.
How many celebrations will he do afterwards?
I mean, the Trent repertoire, he's going to go, shrug, trip, to a, drink for tea, arms fold. What else does he like? He likes them all done. He defo shushes the Gladys Street.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 1-0 Trent. Gomez comes on at right back. Trent goes into midfield. 1-0, 75th minute.
Wow.
Yeah. No one breaking anyone's nose.
No, obviously, yeah.
They just had a few of them tasty challenges from back in the day, from the early noughties, a few Gerrard ones, you know.
They're not allowed anymore, are they?
Scenes nobody likes to see, but everybody does like to see, you know.
In our team, I think there's only one fella who could do them, and it's Robbo.
Oh, Robbo?
No, yeah, Robbo would fly in.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, he's feisty, isn't he? He's got that Scottish temper in him. No negativity tonight, lads, I'm off to Accrington Stanley, says Kelly. With
nice.
Dan showing his age with his 80s advert references there.
Sorry.
Way to keep it current on YouTube, Dan. That'll do the algorithm in the world to go that one, won't it? Absolutely.
They get it.
Quad Pod's going 2-1 with a Gomez winner. Oh, my goodness gracious me.
Yeah.
Feed me that. Right then. Thanks everyone for watching. We're going to shoot off, so do keep on the socials, like loads of Paul and Chris and Boxback, loads of Chloe at Goodison as well. We'll be back in about half an hour's time for the watch along, so do come and join us then. See you all soon.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out the content today. If you want to get your name in and amongst these wonderful people, then head to redmenplus.com. Join as a legend tier subscriber. You're going to get free merchandise codes. You're going to get in our Discord, and you're going to get your name at the end of YouTube videos. Yes, redmenplus.com, legend tier status.